Hi everyone, this is Karen from Online Healing Community. Welcome to Creating Space. And today we're going to talk about financial wellness. And with us is bank executive and holistic wellness advocate Rachel Geronimo. Can you please help me welcome her? Hi, Miss Rachel. Welcome to Creating Space.
Good evening, Karen. It's nice to be back. Atma namaste to all.
Thank you so much. We're so happy that you're here. But first things first, can you please help us define what is financial wellness?
Well, wellness is synonymous to well-being and optimum state of health, no. But we always like to distinguish wellness from just plain and simple well-being, like this. Wellness involves the conscious choice to achieve a state of well-being, and therefore, financial wellness is actually a lifestyle of positive choices that you make towards financial well-being. So financial wellness connotes more proactivity, whereas well-being is more of a state that you find yourself in.
I love that when you said that financial wellness is a lifestyle of making positive choices. Can you
Yes.
share with us like some of your tips, top three tips in like good financial choices that we can make, especially at this time of
Well,
the pandemic?
yeah, there are many, but some of my favorites are number one, you always have to save a portion of your earnings monthly, and it has to be regular, and it has to be consistent, and it has to be a meaningful amount. In short, you have to pay yourself first before you pay Meralco, before you pay your cell phone bill, before you pay your or before you go shopping. When you take home your paycheck, you pay yourself first. That's number one. And then number two, I always advise people to buy what they need ahead of what they want. So many people tell me that they find themselves without any savings. And then when we analyze what they have purchased the past month, the past quarter, the past year, the bulk of it went to things that they don't actually need, but which they bought because they want. Okay, so buy what you need first before what you just want. And then the third tip I can give, it's more values oriented.
Mhm.
When you have money, make it a point to share it.
Mhm.
Donate, tithe, support a charitable institution. You don't have to be rich to become a donor.
Mhm.
My teacher in pranic healing, Grandmaster Choa, has said, when you have money, you tithe, you donate. When you
Mhm.
think you don't have money, that's when you have to tithe even more.
Wow. That's
Interesting.
interesting. That's very interesting. But let's go to these three things more in detail. Number one, you mentioned pay yourself first. How
Yeah.
much should you allocate for paying yourself first?
I always tell people to start with even just 10%. So let's say someone takes home 10,000 a month. Before you pay anybody or pay any bill, get 1,000, which is 10%, and put it in your savings account. It doesn't matter what you earn, okay? What matters is how much you save. You can just be earning 20,000 pesos a month. But if you save 2,000 pesos a month, at the end of the year, you have 24,000 pesos. Compared to somebody earning 100,000 pesos a month who doesn't save anything, who even maxes out his or her credit card to buy things that he or she doesn't need, you, the one who earns 20,000, will end up having saved more than the person who earns 100,000 who doesn't save.
That's true. I actually part of a clinic, and our secretary. Well, most of the therapists in the clinic earns 5 times more than our secretary. But our
Mhm.
secretary has more investments than all
Yeah.
the other therapists because a lot of us like just spend our money away. She's very
Yes,
frugal
especially
and
what you save rather than what you earn.
mhm. So you have to save at least 10% and can be
Yeah,
go higher as
of course. Yeah.
over time.
Yeah. You'll realize kasi after accumulating your savings that it will become as addictive as shopping. Eh. I've had clients who say, I can't stop at just saving 10% now. I'm now at 20.
Oh, that's beautiful. I
Yeah.
actually just, to be honest, I just started doing that. And what happens is it just feels so nice that you have like money that you see there, that's just there, and
Yeah.
you don't move. And
Yeah.
then, and I agree with you. It's actually you want to grow it more and more and more.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And then
so one day you can buy a house, you can maybe even travel.
that's
So your
true.
savings, you pay yourself, you save for a future need that will be much more meaningful than all these things that you just buy at random, di ba?
Oo. And you mentioned in one of your talks that there's actually a correlation with financial wellness and emotional wellness.
Yes. Financial wellness and emotional wellness are intertwined. In fact, one can feed the other. Because don't we feel better emotionally if we know that we have enough money in the bank, when we know that we don't have to scrounge around for ways to pay our bills, di ba? So in that sense, financial wellness affects your emotional wellness. Conversely, and this is the more interesting part, conversely, your emotional wellness, sorry for the barking dog, huh? Can you
It's
hear the
fine. This
barking?
happens.
Yeah, the your emotional wellness actually affects your financial wellness, and that's the more interesting part. Why? Because your emotional wellness will dictate the kind of vibe that you produce and project. And following the principle of like attracts like, if your vibration is very high in terms of emotions and attitudes and mindset, you will tend to attract you will tend to attract situations that will make you more financially abundant.
Right. And this ties to actually the third point that you mentioned, sharing
Yes.
wealth and sharing your finances. Like
Yeah.
in one of your talks you mentioned that you earned 300% of what you usually earn just because you tithe.
Yeah. Tithing is something that I learned in the pranic healing school. And I've been in the school only a little over 2 years. No, prior to my entry into pranic healing, I would donate when I had enough money or when I thought I had excess. I would give here and there to people in need, but it wasn't a regular thing. But what I learned in pranic healing was that tithing has to be regular and consistent. And we're also taught that you have to make it a real habit and priority. So I followed that. I started to donate regularly to the charities of pranic healing. I would give to my family, whether or not they need it. And I observed for myself
Mhm.
and proved that the more you give, the more you receive. It was almost like an exact science. I think it is an exact science. The more I gave, let's say I gave 10% of my income, I would initially feel that wow, this is quite a lot. I've never given 10% of my income before, but I just kept on doing it. And without going into details, as time went on, I found myself in situations that gave me more sources of income over and above my job in the bank, over and above returns on my existing investments, all because I started to tithe and donate regularly.
Yeah. And what interestingly, you mentioned that even if you don't have money, that's actually all the more that you have to donate. And I mentioned Ayi saying that there was a time when she actually almost ran out of money, but she wanted to sell a property of hers in Davao. And what she did was, instead of like keeping the money for herself, she'd cite it, but with that intention that, okay, I'll give this, but please come back to me a hundredfold. And true enough, that week, she was able to sell that property, which has been on the market for 2 months and
Yeah.
for 2 years rather. And then she
Yeah.
said that she was attributing it to tithing. So that's how
Yeah.
powerful it is.
It's very powerful because we reap what we sow. And tithing sows golden seeds to reap a golden financial harvest. Now, this is not to say that we are supposed to donate or tithe or be charitable only because we expect something in return. That's also the wrong motivation, di ba? We tithe and we donate because it's the right thing to do. All we're saying in pranic healing is that the side effect of our generosity is that kind of financial reward.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. And you're saying it has to be like regular. And I feel also when I give, it's like saying to the universe that I have more than enough. And that's why
Exactly.
I can
That's
give.
why Master Choa, our guru, the founder of Pranic Healing, when he says that when you feel you don't have money, that's when you should give more, we really recommend that because when your mindset changes as a result of your having given even just a little, you send out that vibe to the world that you have money and money will come to you. We're all
Right.
beings of energy. We are all beings that emit and receive vibrations. So, what kind of vibe do you want to put out there? That you need money or that you have money? That you're the
Right.
donor or you're the always the recipient? Of course, you want to be the donor, right?
Yeah. So Miss
So even
Rachel,
if
for people,
you don't have money, that's when you, I'll repeat, that's when you have to even be more conscious about giving.
right? Because I noticed that the news says that a lot of more than around 50% of Filipinos lost their job this pandemic. A lot of
Yeah.
OFWs returned to the Philippines. Would you recommend that people who lost their jobs, people who are in need of money right now, give some of their money away?
Yes. Yes. Can cite an example. Somebody who lost her job told me that she has to stop tithing for now because she has no more income. I said, I know it's difficult, but can you still continue to give? Even if it is not at the level at what you used to give, can you just sustain the habit? Can you please just try it out just for 3 months? And let me know what happens because I'm almost sure that it will still have a positive effect. And then she said, no, I really can't. I need to save everything. I'm almost down to nothing. But
Mhm.
somehow she followed the advice. And on her second month, she was given a business opportunity from out of nowhere. And then a relative suddenly paid back an overdue debt.
Oh,
So money came to her
yeah,
because she was still giving money away even when she felt she had none.
right. What
So
I
that's
notice it
simple.
Right. So what I notice is that it allows for flow because
Yeah,
you're giving, then you can
yeah,
receive. Like you said, money
yeah,
is energy, and yeah, Vicky agrees with you that money is energy.
yeah.
Another thing that you
Money
mentioned is
is energy.
yeah, money is energy. Another thing that you mentioned, Ms. Rachel, is that we have to buy what we need and not what we want. But you also mentioned that a lot of us, especially Filipinos, it's there's a usually we buy because of an emotional need. And one of your talks you mentioned, ask yourself, what emotional need am I trying to fulfill by spending too much on things I don't need? And I realize you're right. Personally, there was a time that I would like buy Starbucks every single day just to prove to myself that I can afford it now. Because there was a time that I felt that coffee was expensive and that at the and so I had to buy every single day just to feel that need na parang, I can afford it now, but I really don't. I
Yeah,
don't really need it. So it's
yeah.
really
So
emotional pala our spending.
yeah, when we when we want to achieve financial wellness, we really have to delineate. We have to distinguish between our needs and our wants. And then prioritize our needs, 'di ba? We need to pay our children's tuition. We need to pay our electric bill. We need to pay that down payment on our condo, something like that, di ba? But we want this designer pair of shoes. We want this cup of coffee from Starbucks, di ba? You have to really prioritize your needs because oftentimes when you give into your wants, the balance is tilted in favor of those wants and you find yourself unable to save because you accommodated your wants over your needs, and then you find yourself lacking the funds to buy what you really need because you gave into your wants. So going deeper, you ask yourself, what emotional need ba did I try to fulfill by buying this thing that I don't need? And then the answers are very interesting. Like I asked my client before, tell me why you buy so many bags. Tell me. Because she was saying, I'm already in debt. I can't pay my daughter's tuition na for next sem. I said, why? What happened? And then she said, I'm still paying for a bag that I bought last year. Oh, I said, why did you choose that? Why did you prioritize that and not uh, the more important expenses, no? I said, what need are you fulfilling by buying those bags? And then she said, I guess I just want to keep up with my friends. I want to show that I can afford this. So the decision to buy that bag, even if she clearly couldn't afford to pay it in cash, and even to the point of sacrificing the tuition of the daughter, di ba? It was fulfilling the need for acceptance, the need to siguro self-esteem, to elevate her self-esteem. Oh, I can afford this. And then what we do is we work on the psychological need. We have to address that need, that void that the person feels, so that the person doesn't feel that void anymore. And when the need is addressed, the want will disappear.
So yeah, again, please ask yourself, what emotional need are you
Yeah,
fulfilling when you buy
especially if you
something?
tend to buy too many of things that you don't need, 'di ba? Of course, I'm never going to tell you to stop treating yourself once in a while. I'll be the last person to tell you that because I also love buying things that I want. I love nice things, 'di ba? So I'm not going to tell you to stop. I'm just going to tell you that you buy those, but please prioritize first the essentials, what you need. Now, if you find yourself addicted to shopping or addicted to hulugan or installment or gifts, 'di ba? That's so prevalent in Filipino culture, 'di ba? Ask yourself why. What emotional need are we trying to fulfill by buying that?
Yeah. So we'll give you a minute actually to think about that for everybody here because I'm sure like me, you're also guilty that you buy emotionally and not because you really need it. So yeah, we'll leave you with that question. What emotional need am I trying to fulfill by spending too much on things that I don't need? So and then when we come back, we'll talk about bad decisions naman, bad financial decisions we can do.
Okay.
And also Miss Rachel is the chief recovery officer for for a bank, and we can talk about how can we work on paying up our loans, especially for those people who are having difficulty at this time. Okay, so we'll just have a 1 minute break, and please ask yourself those questions. So that we can just help people stay calm and spread calm at this time. And if we can just really lighten the load of everybody, and lalo na with the social distancing that's being done, we kind of feel alone. Even now, we're still on lockdown. And I just want people to know that, guys, you're not alone. Kaya natin to. Together, we can do this. That's why we have programs every Tuesday, every Thursday. There's a class or a workshop which is free to the community so everybody can come together. Here are our programs on personal growth and healing for you. All right, we're back. So earlier, Miss Rachel talked about good financial choices we can make. Number one, pay yourself first. Number two, buy what you want and not what buy what you need, not just what you want. Number three, you have to share.
Prioritize what you need.
Oh, there, prioritize what you need because we can always buy. We can also treat ourselves from time to time, right, Miss Rachel? So we talk
Yes.
about good choices. How about what are the bad financial choices we can make?
Yes, some of the more common causes of financial problems that I've come across were, yeah, number one, buying impulsively. Most of the time, impulsive purchases are based on what they want to buy rather than what they need to buy. And again, it fulfills an emotional need that we have to dig deeper to find out. And they end up regretting it. So that's number one. The other financial pitfall is investing in the stock market when you haven't done your research. I see a lot of that because they get tips from people who play the stock market. Now, some people they're just too in a hurry to earn more or to make a quick buck that they listen to the tip without really doing research. So they buy, and then sadly the price declines, and then they lose their capital, or it's sliced in half. And third, this might cause some controversy, especially given the ties we have with family. But sometimes I see a lot of people fighting with family because of money, because a relative owes them money or they owe a relative, and the relationship turns sour. So if you could avoid those kinds of transactions with family members, maybe avoid it na lang first.
Yeah. The third, I agree with you, Miss Rachel. The third is kind of controversial because Filipinos, like the families are close knit. And so if they have trouble, usually you'd go to your family first. How can you avoid that? How can you say no
Well, I
to
guess
a
you
family?
don't need to say no, but it's more of number one, putting a boundary. So if you help, maybe you can just help up to a certain point. I've heard stories kasi from my clients where they give their, let's say they give their hand, and then the next month they give na their arm, and before they know it, they're giving too much already, and they end up not being able to collect. And then when they try to collect because they themselves need the funds, the family member takes it against them, so the relationship turns sour. I guess we really can't avoid it, and it's also good to help. No, it's not a problem. You should help, but I guess you just put a boundary to the extent of your assistance. And if you are naman on the receiving end of the debt, meaning you're the one who borrows, you honor naman your debt. If you tell your cousin or your sibling that you pay the right amount when it's due. Don't make them wait because they might need the money also.
That's true. That's true. Speaking of loans, Miss Rachel, right now you are in the field of corporate lending and loan structuring. Currently, you're the head for remedial management and the chief recovery officer for Union Bank. What's your
Yeah.
advice for people who are having difficulty paying their mortgages or loans
We
at this
had a lot
time?
of that, especially during these times, because people lost their jobs and the source of repayment was, di ba, was wiped out. The first thing I can advise is don't hide from the bank. Please come to us and explain your situation and then offer us what you can, because that's a much better approach compared to totally avoiding our calls, and your name will end up in the negative file, the negative list, because you are delinquent and uncontactable. One of the best legacies that we can leave to our children is a good name, and the way you conduct your finances is part of your good name. It's part of your credit record. So I suggest that if you run into financial trouble and cannot pay a loan the way you used to, come to the bank and be honest about your situation. The account officers are willing to listen and willing to help. We are not um, heartless people, but we protect the interest of the bank in case you become evasive or uncooperative.
Mhm. So you're saying don't hide from the bank. If you can't,
Come
call the
forward.
bank.
Yeah, come forward and explain and offer whatever you can, and ask how much the bank can extend, or if they can accept muna this much, 'di ba? Rather than just ignoring us or shirking your financial obligation. That's never good. In everything, I guess, Karen, the guiding principle should be just follow whatever is in line with good manners and right conduct, di ba? So it's the same with financial transactions. Be ethical, be transparent, be honest.
Mhm. Right. Yes, that's true. And would you have three tips for, or a few tips for financial wellness?
Yeah. Similar to what I said earlier, pay yourself first.
Yeah.
That means save at least 10% of your salary. Focus on your needs, prioritize them rather than prioritizing your wants. And number three, make it a habit to regularly donate and tithe to charitable entities.
Yeah. Speaking of habit, there's one habit that you actually do that I find very well funny also, but very practical. You shop for Christmas gifts in summer.
Yeah, I do that sometimes. Well, a lot of times, yes.
And the
Because towards Christmas, the prices sometimes increase following the law of supply and demand. They know that people are really out to shop for gifts, diba? So you don't find too many sales during Christmas season, diba?
Mm-mm.
Because the retailers know that people are going out to buy. So there's not much wisdom in giving your discounts at that time of year when you know that people will buy. But during the lean months like summer, when you know that people might be prioritizing or hopefully prioritizing tuition, 'di ba? Enrollment is usually what? I don't know. My daughter's been out of school for 2 years, but I do remember that enrollment would be around April. So those are the times when retailers usually drop their prices, minsan until July pa. So that's when I shop for Christmas gifts, especially those that are generic that anybody will appreciate. I don't have anybody in mind when I buy something that is really really nice but discounted. Diba? Because it's better to buy at a discount than to buy the same item in December at full price.
Mm. I love it that you have all these practical tips. And how did you, is it something that has been passed on to you or something that you studied? How about these things about
Hmm,
financial wellness?
that's interesting because no one ever asked me that before. But I guess it's also because I grew up in a family that could make sound financial decisions. As I was growing up, I would eavesdrop on my mom and my dad talking about investments. My mom would invest in the stock market, they would buy art. My dad is a lawyer kasi with expertise in banking, tax and trust. So financial pa rin, ano? Even if he's legalistic, even if he's a lawyer. So I guess, yeah, because of the environment I was in, where there was a culture of investment and financial literacy, plus there was this culture of generosity. Both my parents and even my grandparents and great grandparents are habitual donors. So I guess I got it there. Mm-mm.
That's
And then
beautiful that you grew up.
I studied it na rin.
Yes.
I went to business school and then my career of choice was banking. So I really had no choice also but to brush up on the latest financial trends.
Mhm. So, we have a question here. Good evening po from Stacy Agustin. How about allotments, mga allowance ng senior citizens and magulang? Ano pong healthy proportion for them?
Um, you mean the senior citizen gets an allowance?
I I'm thinking like how much okay. I don't actually understand it so well. But I was thinking, how much of your like a lot. I think a lot of Filipinos lalo na since we're family oriented, parang there's some of us are required to give to senior citizens or give back to the
Like
parents.
to support our
Yes,
parents.
how much should you give them or what
Okay.
percentage?
One thing I learned in the Pranic Healing School is you tithe to your parents whether or not they need it. And I go by 10%.
Mhm.
Why? Because we are karmically bound to our parents. They are the ones responsible for our existence, di ba? So whether
That's
my
right.
parents need it or not, I give them 10%. I don't know if others do that. Maybe some give more, some give less. That's okay as long as you do observe that practice of giving to your parents. Um, it's a different thing if your parents are totally relying on you for their daily expenses. In which case, I would believe that your allotment to them would go beyond 10%. There's no right or wrong formula now when you are talking of what your parents really need. Because I don't know the situation of of the one asking. Eh. But definitely, I think if you're supporting your parents and they, let's say they need medicine or they need money to visit their doctors, then you give that. Mm-mm.
Sure. Ayan. And then, Miss Rachel, what I noticed when you're talking about the tips and talk about practical advice, those are habits. Those are things that you have to do regularly. Like you said, pay yourself first, and that's something that you have to do monthly. Tithe and give, that's
Yeah.
something that you do
Mhm.
monthly as well.
Mhm.
And you're talking
Yeah.
about prioritizing your needs versus your wants. It's a
Yes.
habit as well. So it
Yes.
really requires discipline. Financial wellness requires discipline. That's how
Yeah,
I
because your habits arise from your choices. And as I said, financial wellness is really a series of choices that we make towards financial well-being. Some of those choices being saving 10% of our salary, tithing 10%, prioritizing needs versus wants, researching on investments before we actually put our hard-earned money there. Those are all choices that we make.
yeah. So it's really about cultivating good habits. We have another question, Ms. Rachel, from Robbie Punsalan. Do you have
Mhm.
any comments on the recent boom of investing in stocks and crypto?
Yes, Robbie is also into energy. I know Robbie. Hi there, Robbie. My comment there is that number one, it's good because it widens the financial arena. It gives us more diverse options where we can put our money. But number two, it's also not for everyone. There will still be people who would prefer to be more conservative and put their money in a bank, or maybe even more conservative to just really keep it in some well, in a bank, that's the most conservative, or keep it in a fixed income fund, diba? It's not for everyone, but I do welcome the diversity and the excitement provided by the stock market and crypto. It's very exciting, but I would caution people, especially those who are new to investing, do your research first.
Yeah. You ask this question to your audience most of the time, Miss Rachel.
Yeah.
I'll just um ask this to you naman this time. Like
Mm-mm.
you ask, if you were given 1 million and you have to save or invest it, where will you put it? Since we're talking about investments at this point.
If I were given
Yes.
1 million right now, I think I would buy a piece of art.
Yeah. Why a piece of art?
Well, honestly, because I've never really invested in art before. My parents did. So there are a lot of beautiful paintings around the house. Some are in my office, some are in my condo. But I guess because of the times now where you really want to appreciate things of beauty, and I'm into energy where the true, the good, and the beautiful really resonate with me. Parang I would rather buy art that looks very aesthetically appealing and that evokes good energy than buy, let's say, a cryptocurrency that I can neither see nor feel, something like that. So
Yeah.
if I had 1 million lying around, I would probably invest in a piece of art, a nice painting
Yeah. I resonate with you. I
in my
love.
life.
Yeah. Before I feel that parang why would I put money in art? But I've been going to a lot of galleries lately because we're in that field and it feels like a beach house. Like for me, it's like being surrounded by a lot of beautiful artwork just uplifts your spirit so much. So yeah,
Tsaka,
I love
based on the experience of my parents, it's really a solid investment
art.
because the artwork that they have is worth so much more than um 20, 30, no, 30 or 40 years ago when they bought them.
Right. What
Yeah.
would be what would be other good investments that
I
you
would
would
say go
recommend?
into the banks have unit investment trust funds. In unit investment trust funds, your money is pooled with those of other investors. And when you pool your money with those of other investors, it comes up to a huge chunk of money. So that entire pool is now invested by the fund managers in instruments that you would otherwise have no access to if you were just investing on your own as a small investor. So practically all the banks, Union Bank included, have trust groups or trust and investment departments that sell the unit investment trust funds. And the UITFs, as we call them, are of various kinds. There are those that are conservative, there are those that are riskier but might offer higher return. So iba-iba din sila, but it's good to to try it out. It's definitely not a deposit because a bank deposit guarantees you a rate of return. 'Di ba? When you go to the bank, they'll tell you, okay, your time deposit will earn 1% per annum. di ba? At least you're guaranteed that 1%. But in the UITF, all that the sales officer will show you is a historical record of how that unit investment trust fund performed. And then you make your decision based on historical data and also considering your risk appetite.
Yeah. Somebody wants to invest now, Miss Rachel, and she's asking, magkano po pag
Iba,
nag-invest
iba.
right
Iba-iba.
away?
It depends on the product. It depends on the product. There are products in the branch that I think require a really low minimum lang, like maybe 5, 10,000. It's best to go to your friendly Union Bank branch and make all your inquiries there because the people are so skilled and most willing to help guide you towards your financial wellness journey. Mga financial wellness ambassadors din sila sa Union Bank.
Right. Why is it
Mhm.
important that we take care of this financial wellness as well?
Because money, although money is just energy, money allows us to have quality of life if we have enough of it. 'Di ba? If you notice, like kayo, Karen, 'di ba, you meditate, you do all these spiritual and holistic activities, but you can't do that if you are worried about how to pay for your next meal, 'di ba?
True.
So in short, money is important, although it should not be the end goal of our existence. Money is still important so that we enjoy quality of life, so that we can do the finer things in life, so that we can do our spiritual activities, so that um, we can help others, we can enhance the standard of living of our parents, our siblings, 'di ba? Money is a tool by which we can do so many good things. You just have to use it properly. That's why it's important to strive for financial wellness the way we strive to keep our bodies healthy. We should also keep our finances healthy because it opens doors to so many things that can be good for ourselves and others.
I agree, Miss Rachel. And I love it that you talk about financial wellness as part of spirituality as well, that they are not opposite sides of the spectrum. Because personally, I've been taught for for a number of years that you when you're into the spiritual path, you shouldn't think of finances. And it's
Yeah,
really recently that, not really like what you're saying. When you are financially well, then you can be emotionally well as well. And then you can really take care of your spirituality when you're
yeah.
financially well.
Yes, we challenge that paradigm that financial health and spiritual wellness are irreconcilable or even conflicting, di ba? No, I'd like to debunk that. We learned that financial wellness can and should coexist with spiritual wellness. You have money, you use it properly, and you use it for God's greater glory. Remember that money does not belong to us, it came from God. And therefore, whatever we do with our finances should be for the greater glory of God.
That's true.
So that's how financial wellness can make us a more spiritual person. And conversely, having spiritual wellness will now make us more financially abundant because now of those side effects that I mentioned earlier. When you do a spiritual thing like tithing to a church or a charitable institution, or wherever you derive your spiritual growth, diba? Kahit papano, it comes back to you. And therefore, your spiritual health has also paved the way now for financial wellness.
Right.
So they do coexist. And I believe that a person with a truly balanced life walks on the two legs. We got that again from the Pranic Healing School. And those two legs are the leg of financial abundance and spiritual abundance. And therefore, we live a life of balance.
I love it that you're saying that they can coexist, spiritual abundance and
Yeah.
financial abundance.
Yes.
Thank you so much for clarifying that for a lot of us.
Mhm.
And you usually close the discussion, Ms. Rachel, with a short reflection and meditation. Can you please
Okay.
lead this?
Yeah, why not? Okay, so everybody just put your feet flat on the floor and put your hands on your lap with your palms facing upward. Now, I'd like you to imagine yourself surrounded by golden white energy. Let's do breathing. Let's breathe in, inhale slowly, hold, and exhale slowly. Breathe in financial abundance. Hold. Breathe out financial worries. Breathe in generosity and charity. And breathe out selfishness and lack. Breathe in material abundance. And breathe out poverty consciousness. Imagine yourself right now surrounded by piles and piles of fresh, crisp bills in your currency. Imagine yourself in a room full of fresh, crisp Philippine pesos, US dollars, euros, whatever it is. Just enjoy the smell of money. And then take a few bills and feel them between your fingers. These all belong to you. You worked hard for all of this. How does it feel between your fingers? And listen to the sound of the crisp bills rubbing against each other. Feel and enjoy and relish the physical presence of financial abundance around you. And as you feel it, it becomes part of your consciousness. Know that endless financial possibilities await you who deserve it, and that financial wellness will come to you because you will use it responsibly for the greater glory of God to uplift the lives of your loved ones and the less fortunate. You deserve each and every crisp, fresh bill that fills your room. Continue to enjoy the smell, the touch of your money. You are surrounded by this financial abundance and you are financially abundant. You are already financially abundant. And as you give, you shall receive. We reap what we sow. And imagine golden white light cascading down your entire body, embracing the entire room that is filled with piles and piles of money. Ask yourself how it feels. Does it feel good? Does it feel light? Are you excited? Enjoy all these positive emotions and tell yourself silently, I am abundant. I deserve financial abundance. I choose financial wellness. I am financially and spiritually prosperous. With thanks and in full faith, so be it. When you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rachel, for that beautiful meditation. It actually feels light to
Yeah.
imagine myself in
And then
that
the
state.
smell, no? The smell of money, the
Yeah,
feel, then hearing it.
it
Then it
feels
becomes
right.
part of you. Then it becomes part of you because you physicalized it there. Mm.
Yeah. So thank you. Stacy saying, na-enlighten po ako. Sa church, may allotment ako, pero walang fixed na amount for my tatay. Thank you so much for the wisdom. And she's saying, I feel so plastic. I guess plastic because she's giving to the church and not giving to the parent. So there.
Yeah,
Oh,
a lot something. Yeah,
yeah.
for your loved
And
ones, for your parents.
that's true. And manggagawang PWD na may kakayahan said, thank you for the meditation. Yeah, it's nice
Thank
when you
you
can
din
actually
po.
see it.
Yes, thank you din po.
Ayan. And Miss Rachel has a free class on financial wellness this Thursday. And there's a link on the comment section of the FB page, so you can just sign up for that if you want to learn more about financial wellness. And it's true, Miss Rachel, because a lot of us did not grow up in that environment that you talked about earlier. And I don't know, it's also culture of the Philippines that we really like partying and good time. So there's really it's really part of the culture that you spend everything or you give everything away. So thank you so much for telling us. No, please save 10%. Please tithe 10%, and please give your parents 10%. So
Yes, yes, yes. We give, we receive. Money is energy. So as with all energy, it needs flow. No? So money has to leave us, it has to go out in order for it to come back. As we inhale, we should exhale.
yeah, I guess. Is there any other thing that you'd want to share for everybody? Final words for everybody watching and listening.
Yes, I believe that each one of us has it within us to be financially abundant. It just requires the belief that you already are. And then keep putting yourself in that kind of mindset. Tell yourself you are worthy of financial blessings, that you have the right discernment to use your financial blessings responsibly and properly. And the money will come. You will be led to either people who will educate you, who will employ you if you're looking for a job. You will be led to people who would want to partner with you for wholesome and profitable businesses, etc. Just plant that thought in your consciousness that you are already financially abundant and that you deserve it, and that when you start to earn, you will even provide employment to people, you'll even be of more service to the needy, all these good things, and it will come.
Yeah, thank you so much, Miss Rachel. There's so many um, words of gratitude from the people in the community. Thank you so much. It's really
Thank you
something
to
that
everyone.
yeah, something we all need to hear. So please know, well, please keep that in mind. What Miss Rachel said, you are already financially abundant and you deserve it. You deserve to be financially abundant. Thank
Yes.
you. So we'll end with
Thank you,
that. So
Karen. Thank you,
thank you so
Ai.
much, Miss Rachel. Yeah, Ayi also for organizing this. And thank you everybody for joining us. So bye for now. And you'll see Miss Rachel this Thursday if you just join the class. Bye
Bye.
everyone.
Thank